What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Alex G alongside Mal, and this is the A Couple of Things podcast where we're here to talk about a couple of things. Let's get right into it. So, recently there was some court documents that implicate Meek Mill being involved in some homosexual relations with none other than P. Diddy, and all of this is alleged, obviously. I know a lot of people like to just talk about certain stuff just for the clicks and the whoa reaction. But all of this is alleged just because somebody says something. Like, I don't know why everybody always jumps to believe certain things. So it was in a document that did on the top part have the information related to him redacted, but on the bottom footnote it did indicate that they're talking about him specifically. So to me, like I said, there needs to be explicit evidence for me to really believe anything, so I'm not just going off of hearsay, because people bring up just wild shit all the time just for the clicks and the whoa and the awe of everything. So,
and to try to get money.
Yeah, and to try to get money. And so in this case, I'm not going to just jump to believe it, and that's where my stance is on it, first and foremost.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying I believe it either, but I do also feel like a lot of weird stuff does happen in the industry, and for me it's interesting to see who gets these allegations and who doesn't, because I feel like if it was just people out to get people all the time, then so many people will have allegations. Kanye don't got none of these type of allegations. Jay-Z, there's like a lot of artists out there who don't have these type of like allegations.
They did have.
Well, Jay-Z kind of has some stuff, right?
And Beyonce too.
True. But I just feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, why Diddy? Why Meek Mill? Like, why is it, like, it's just so random to me. And I get people do get targeted. I'm not saying that they don't, but it's like, it does make you question a little bit the truth in some of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't want to put anything on anybody, because, again, without any hard explicit proof, it's hard for me to put certain things on certain people. So I kind of want to be reserved in like what I believe to be true, because it's kind of like putting something on somebody. Like, I wouldn't, if I was in a certain situation and people were accusing me of something, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
But I do definitely agree. Stuff like, I know wild stuff happens in the industry, and I've heard people tell crazy stories about crazy parties and like that whole LA culture. I've heard people talk about crazy stuff without mentioning anybody specific in their stories, but like they say it gets sick, and I believe it, because it gets sick in real life, like with the regulars. So I don't even want to know what happens out there.
And we talked about this before too. Like, it's just a world I will never understand, because like, maybe at least from a male perspective, or just, you know, just from even a woman's perspective, having endless options because of having money, your options are pretty limitless. Like, even like, you know, you could be ugly, and some of the baddest looking women will come after you just because your money and your status. So I do feel like when you have a plethora of options, that you do end up just dabbling into some weird things, because it's like, I think at a certain point there is such thing as too much sex or too much access to women. So you just kind of get bored. Like, if you could get like vagina at any time by any woman in this world, then that's not going to be enough for you, I feel like. So, you know, unless you are just straight. But I feel like even like the straightest person, those type of environments and that type of world, especially being on drugs and stuff, could just bring a whole nother side out. And I feel like that's how a lot of people end up dabbling into a lot of weird, crazy stuff, is because of that. Like, it's not enough. They're not getting. It's like you can't get off anymore from just traditional sex. Like, the threesomes aren't enough. Because you did so many threesomes. Running a train might not be enough. You know.
Yeah.
All those things might not be enough. Orgies might not be enough. None of that stuff is enough. I feel like when you have so much of it compared to us regular people, right? Those type of stuff is like, everybody might have like a one story where they like did a threesome maybe once, but like, you know, not me. But I'm saying, like, people out there have, like, you know, their stories. And like, you talk to people and they'll have like a story here and there, right? But nothing too crazy for an average person. Maybe in college days, and that's about it. Nothing really beyond that.
Yeah,
but this world is
it's
different.
Like, you got money. Like, I don't believe in the whole Illuminati thing, but I do feel like there is. I don't believe in like a specific organization itself, but I do think that the things that people talk about there that exist, like the weird parties and like the rich people
Rich,
coming
yeah.
together to push agendas. I don't view that as like the Illuminati in the way people think, where people are sacrificing babies and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't
Yeah.
think it's so much occultish, but I think it's more so like just the
Like the vibes.
the vibes of it is like Illuminati-ish. Like I think that the Eyes Wide Shut kind of thing, it definitely, and I think other people would that have been in these parties would confirm that that definitely is a thing that exists. But I don't know if it works in the sense that like I think people take the selling your soul thing so literally. Like you're actually signing paperwork. You're sitting across the table from the devil, and you're actually like signing paperwork
Yeah.
and then giving your life away and then in return you get money. I don't think it works that way, but I think corruption does exist. And if people want to tie corruption to the devil itself, then I think it works in that way symbolically, but not like you're actually like sitting with a round table of people.
It's like you're just doing things that you normally wouldn't do, or things that you know morally aren't right, but you're doing it because of money. So like the show Baddies, right? Morally, we know it's not a good look for the Black community. Like all them up on the show fighting and being ignorant. Like we know it's not good for our community. We know it's harming the youth, but that's selling your soul because you're gonna do those things for money.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, like maybe being a little bit more promiscuous might not be something that's aligned with like godly things, like sleeping around, twerking, all that stuff that people like do all the time in their music videos. But that's what the selling your soul is. You're doing things that you know you probably normally wouldn't do.
Yeah.
If you weren't famous or who you were.
So in a Meek Mill situation specifically, there's a lot to it. So since we're on this specific part of the topic, let's break it down. So do we think that this is true?
The only reason I think it is true, or there's truth to it, is because the signs kind of were there before these allegations. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like weird, questionable stuff that you could be like, you know what? Like yeah, there's like, because people been saying stuff about him and Diddy and just a lot of weird energy before these allegations came out. So it's like either the person who came out with these allegations is capitalizing off of that, or there is truth to it. And I don't know. I don't put nothing beside anybody. I fortunately haven't, and like not even fortunately because I wouldn't have done it anyway. But I haven't had experience dating in like hood guys, I would say, right? Like, and like as I said, like, I took it back to where fortunately, because I would have never done that anyway. I'm not from that environment, so it's not like I would have been drawn to that type of energy, and that's not for me. Like it seems dangerous, like a lot of lifestyles some of those guys live. But from what I heard from women that have kind of dabbled into that a little bit, or like, you know, just from reading stuff on social media, like a lot of those girls be finding like a lot of weird stuff in their boyfriends' phones, or like a lot of like sus stuff, or like, you know, they've confirmed that their boyfriends are DL or done some stuff on the low. So I don't put it beside anybody. You could be the most tough hood person in the world. That doesn't have anything to do with your sexuality. And I feel like, that's my whole thing. I don't think nothing wrong with any of this stuff. I just feel like don't lie. Like, you know, don't get Meek Mill's. It's like low key spiraling on Twitter. Like I feel like that's another thing that's incriminating himself, because it's like it's a lot of tweeting. And I'm not going to necessarily say that's incriminating him, because I'm a person that would defend myself, like in mass tweets. Like I'll go crazy. Like you're not about to slander my name, but I also do feel like it is. If you read between the lines, and it's like there's nothing wrong with it, just admit it. Like, but if you're assaulting people, that's wrong. But I don't think that's wrong with being gay, bi, none of that. Like no matter who you are, but
yeah. And you know me always with all these situations, I always go back to I don't care, right? So people can do whatever they want.
Just don't assault people.
Yeah. So the only thing for me, and I don't know if I believe it, because I don't believe anything until I see it for a fact, right? So I don't believe in anything. I'm always neutral.
But did you hear though, in like apparently in the lawsuit, there was like a screenshot of a video that apparently Diddy sent to the guy of like Stevie J. People say don't look like Stevie J.
Wait, time out.
Yeah, that was in a lawsuit. That was in a lawsuit that like the guy who filed a lawsuit got a screenshot of, or like he got a video of Stevie J like having sex with another man. And like, you know, Stevie J.
Yeah.
And it was from Diddy, and it was kind of like an enticement type video. Like, oh look, like, you know, this is I guess maybe this is how we get down. I think it was like something like that. And you can see this is all alleged. You can see the screenshot.
Don't pull it up.
No, but I don't know. I don't know if it's Stevie J. Anyway, people say they don't look like it, but there was in fact a screenshot that like Academics probably pulled it up when he showed his thingy.
Anyway,
let me type in. If I just type in Stevie J.
Okay. So yeah. For me,
so that's why I'm like, okay, we are kind of getting a little bit proof. I would say, quote unquote, proof, right? Like whether that's Stevie J or not, that's somebody. But that's the thing. The guy who filed the lawsuit that could have been anybody in the screenshot. Maybe like, and he's just trying to
Yeah, again, I'm not
get
gonna
money,
look at
right?
it, but it needs to just be conclusive. So that's where I always fall. Is like, number one, I don't care, but if we are gonna talk about it, I need some conclusive evidence. And not that it, like, I don't want to use the word concerning, but one of the things that was kind of like, oh yeah, I did forget about that, is like people trying to pull up all of like the random stuff that Meek has done over the years. So like them wearing matching out, that definitely looks like him.
Yeah, right.
Them wearing like the matching outfits, or like the pool video, and like Diddy calling him daddy, and then like the fries on the leg kind of thing.
Yeah,
There was just like, and then some of his old tweets and stuff.
Yeah, and like allegedly, like there was your Amazon account is linked to your Twitter, so he accidentally tweeted his purchase, like, "Oh, I just purchased this. Check it out," and it was like a 10-inch dildo. So I don't know, man.
And that could have been for his woman too.
It could have been, but people are saying like they feel like the connection here could be like him getting out of jail. Like it was like, like you kind of had to sacrifice or do something to sell your soul.
Yeah,
to get out of jail.
We'll talk about that in a second with Kanye. So I don't want to use the word concerning again.
Screenshots again,
but
yeah,
those kind of things were, because I remember when these things happened, it was kind of like, what is he on? But as these news stories came out about Diddy, and now you're going back and looking at certain things with different context, it's like, And again, not to be accusatory, but it is. There was some stuff in there that was a little like,
Yeah, and I didn't sit down. Like we always say, we never do our journalistic duty, but I didn't sit down and actually watch the academics video or get the full scope of this lawsuit. But I did kind of get the general like rundown.
Yeah, so you mentioned about him going on a rant defending himself too. Yeah, it's like one of those tough situations.
Yeah, because I read you that tweet, right?
Yeah,
where he was trying so hard to be like, it's like one of those guys that got to prove like they get vagina. So it was like,
but that's what's in question. So it's like, it makes sense. But that's one of those you can't win situations, because no matter what you do in a situation, if you don't say anything, people are going to think it's true. If you do say something now, people are going to think it's true. It's kind of like one of those hard balances.
I also feel like he could be like partially playing into it and trolling a bit too, right? Like maybe he's just having fun with it, because he's like, whatever, like this is not going to bother me that much. But I know that tweet was wild. Like it was just so cringe. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, I saw somebody say that Meek Mill would have been like Michael Jordan if he never got Twitter. Like if he never had a Twitter, because he's always tweeting something crazy.
Yeah,
and I remember he talked about it. He was like, "I'm from the street. Like I don't really know the social media thing." So it's like sometimes he would say stuff and he would see everybody's reaction to it, and then he wouldn't. He'd be confused because he's not really from like that type of world. So yeah, he should just not be on social media.
Yeah, because this was the tweet. When I got a girl around me, I'm effing her twice a day, LOL. Asking me your favorites. P don't control me, but it's like a high. One love to the gay people, but that juicy P do it for me with like 10 E's and a smiley face. I done ran red lights to get that feeling. Y'all weird in here like devils, LOL. Like you ran red lights to get vagina. Like now you're doing it's like now you're doing a lot. Cause any man that's doing that is retarded. Sorry, that's not people don't like that word. But you running red lights for vagina.
Watch your mouth. But also red lights could also be, that's what you call the period too.
Oh.
Yeah, a man running a red light is considered having sex.
Yes, I'm not used to that terminology because I don't get down like that. But
yeah,
I mean, you just see the comments. I bet like it's okay. We ain't judging you. You're not beating the allegations.
Yeah, that's the part that sucks too. Is especially if it's not true. It's like these are one of those things where it's like career defining, unfortunately. But if it is true, it wouldn't be shocking at the same time. Not because of him specifically, but it's just what I think the industry is. I think people get a lot of money in this industry and entertainment, and they're bored and they have nothing to do all day, and they're not fulfilled, because after you buy the $2,000 Lanvin Balenciaga jacket, Bottega, like after a certain point, it's not going to fulfill you. Like you've fulfilled everything that anybody could ever want. You got the money, which affords you all the clothes that people want, the cars that people want, the lifestyle that people want, the traveling, all that kind of stuff. Because you have money, you can now afford to get all the women in the world. Or for women, vice versa. Like you have access to whatever women, like I'm not going to speak for women, but like you've basically fulfilled all your life goals. So it's like,
I mean, we are not in those shoes, but I could truly feel like, I don't know if that would change it for me. Like, 'cause I feel like me and you, right? Like we've met when we had like no money, and obviously our money is not comparable to the money they get, right? but the type like we've gotten to like decent money, and like for me, all it's done is made our bond stronger. Like of course, we still have a lot to do, so there's still a list of like, okay, we still got all these places to see, so we're still distracted by that like what do you call it, like that mission to get to those places. Like so we're still like distracted. Like we still got to go to work and still. So I can understand maybe the lack of distractions and like your life is just fun, like your job is fun. But I don't know. I can't see me and you hitting a lick and getting rich or famous
And then getting freaky.
or yeah, or just being
Weird.
bored or just wanting more or just wanting to
Nah,
have
I
sex with
wouldn't
other
be
people
bored.
because like I feel like that's an internal thing. Like that's a you problem. Like I feel like your sexual desires and urges that comes down to a personal thing. That doesn't like I can't see environment and money impacting my sexuality or my sexual desires.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think all of those things, because there's always the great debate of does money change people or does money just amplify who people already are? I'm of the belief that you are who you are
Yeah.
before you got money, and it just amplifies who you are as a person after you
Yeah.
get money. So if you were gonna be on that type of stuff, if you were on that type of stuff once you got money, you were gonna do that anyway at some
Or you
point.
might have already low key did it.
Yeah.
Whether it was in jail, whether it was with some friends, maybe one night you guys were drunk. Even if you think about like having like running trains, sometimes like about that to me is very borderline. Like I don't know.
I don't think it's borderline.
Like you're sitting around with like looking at your all your friends like penises and you guys are just all jerking off to one woman like, and you guys think that's okay to sit around like you're getting hard around your friends. Like I don't know, it's like the people like you said they might participate in those type of things before they're famous. So the shit with the feelings were already there.
Yeah, and again, because
That's crazy.
we gotta keep reiterating it. It's not like it's a
Yeah, it's not a bad
problem.
thing.
Like I don't.
I have no
This
issue
is
with
no
gay
issue.
people, literally at all. I have issue with people who don't live in their truth.
But I do think that there was like always that concept of homoeroticness, like guys that always want to be around, like the guys that treat their male friends better than women. Of course, we know women do treacherous things to men. We get that, but men do treacherous things to men too.
Yeah.
But y'all will still. There's a lot of people men out there that will show more love to their boys than they would.
And
to
the thing
women.
is, I actually don't think that's crazy because I feel like we accept it as normal when women are like that. Because if you think about it, homoeroticism is almost commonplace for women.
Yeah, kissing
like,
and all that kind of stuff.
Every girl be like, oh, I kissed my friend. First of all, I've never done that, but people have their stories of like they've kissed their friend on a drunk night. Like I'm not attracted to my friends, but you know, to each their own. But
I was about to say something nuts.
What? But like,
Your friends ain't really.
huh?
Let's move on.
You did this last podcast too. Like, what is it? First of all, anybody that you're talking about, I'm not even friends with them anymore. So let's clear that up. I only have like 2 friends right now. So, but yeah, like I never I feel like you said, the homoeroticism is very normalized. I feel like for women, like women dancing each other, twerking each other, grab each other's butts, touch each other's titties, kiss, all that stuff, sleep in the same bed, cuddle, and it's just like normal. Take up for their friends more than they're like, you know, like they like that's their boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like men do it too, but it's not normalized, so they're more like closeted about it. But it exists, and
Yeah.
lots of times that is a gateway to exploring your sexuality and realizing maybe I do have feelings for the opposite sex or the same sex or, you know, both. No judgment zone. Just don't, like, that's the thing. Like, my only issue with this lawsuit is that this guy sounds like he's a victim. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't do something to somebody without their consent. But that's the only issue I have with this whole thing. Him being gay doesn't affect me. I'm still gonna rap dreaming nightmares in the club.
Lord knows it's still tough. I'm sorry. Listening to Lord knows whether this is true or not.
Yeah.
Might as well just put that joint on right now. But the other part about it was academics and his journalism.
Yeah.
Now, for me, the type of people that I like to consume information from, I think there's like the dichotomy in the way people report the news. So, for example, I watch Gillian Wallow's $1 Million Worth of Game show. I'll watch them, and I was even just watching his episode that he just did with Drewski, which was really funny. It's OD funny.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying that, yeah, we don't even talk or mention anybody's name unless it's something positive or bringing some sort of positivity and highlighting the good things about whatever it is that they might have going on, or just about the person in general. So they don't even bring up any negativity on their show at all. That's why if you've ever seen a lot of their clips, it's always them laughing and joking about something, because that's just what they do. There's
Yeah,
nothing like,
positive.
they're not like gossipers,
Yeah,
basically. Academics, on the other hand, has made his whole career off of gossip,
yeah,
basically. So for me personally, it's not my type of content. And I also do recognize at the same time, though, that him acknowledging and just speaking about what's going on in the culture itself is also not necessarily him like promoting it, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
He's literally
He's just
just
speaking on
reporting.
it.
Yeah, it's not any different than the news. I mean, he does add a little bit more bias and
He
jokes that
does.
the news doesn't have. But
And I haven't watched him since probably,
college,
I probably haven't watched academics with any academics video since probably like 2014.
dang,
But
that's 10 years ago.
yeah, because after a while, that's when he was starting to do like the
gang
Chicago
stuff,
stuff, and then
yeah.
I was like, all right. Like, it was funny, and then it wasn't.
And like you were supporting him as like a local Jersey Rutgers guy, like
Yeah,
down
because
the
he was down the
street.
street, right? Yeah, and even now he lives down the street from us.
Yeah,
But I don't know if he's still putting all the sauce on the stories the way he does now, but I would feel like he still is the character that he is. So to me, it's like he knows what he's doing. It's like kind of funny. Like, I kind of compare him to 6ix9ine in a way, because it's like he can bait and troll you
it's
to
called being
the point,
provocative.
yeah, to the point of enragement,
Mm-hmm.
to make you crash out, and then like he's so protected that nothing's gonna happen to him. It's kind of like, it's funny to watch.
Yeah,
Not funny if you're
but
going through
he
it.
should tread lightly because you never know. Like he really might. I mean, at this point, I feel like he's okay, but you never know. That's
You
like,
really don't.
you might get caught slipping in one moment, split moment, moment of opportunity. You're just outside. You know, walk around. I don't know.
Yeah, because
I don't wish that on him, but just
I don't either. And his address is like really public information.
he just be inside all day though. I figure.
Yeah, with security all over the place. So it's kind of interesting, because that was part of like Meek's issue too. Was just like academics just even bringing light to the lawsuit itself. And I don't know. It's
mean,
like he
it's
knows what he's
hard,
doing,
yeah.
and that's the part that's like,
It's
because you
hard
can.
though, because it's like I get it. In one breath, it's like you feel like a black person reporting on black news should report positive news, and if like you're gonna report the negative, report the positive also. But at the same time, if you don't want somebody to talk about anything about you negatively, then don't do negative things. Like
Yeah,
'cause
that's what
you
he.
know, there's academics don't be talking. Like I always bring up Kanye, but you know really bringing up Kanye until Kanye's in the news doing problematic stuff. But it's not like oh, now he don't be reporting on just random people unless they're doing something problematic. He probably hasn't talked about Meek Mill in like months.
Yeah,
It's probably been a while since he even talked about Meek Mill.
yeah. So he's not going out his way to disrespect
Yeah.
people, but he yeah, I don't know. It's like kind of like,
It's hard though because
man,
he should talk positive.
that baiting. And then when he does start talking negative about people, he goes to like the ends of the earth, like saying the most nuts,
Yeah,
egregious
and like obviously
slander.
the
It's
controversy
crazy.
with him with women. They feel
Yeah,
like he's worse with women.
yeah. But he does do the same thing. Like he said here, he said you're not tough. You don't even talk to Philly people the way you talking to me right
Yeah.
now. He said go talk to them. Now the thing is, like, now you're starting to like
Yeah,
go a little bit further.
he's baiting.
Just be safe, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not saying anybody's gonna do anything to
I
him.
hope nothing
But
happens to him, but I want to be shocked.
yeah,
That's
I'm
all.
shocked. I'm actually shocked that nothing's happened to him already.
True.
And I think part of the reason is because people feel like he's the feds. But the funny part about that is that you saw Meek, what he called the governor on academics.
No,
He did.
but I did see there was like police or something. I think I
Yeah,
see it. Yeah.
yeah. I think he said
He called the white man.
the
Our
governor.
governor.
Yeah, I think so.
What's his name? Murphy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I think so. It was either him or it was one of them. But he definitely did, because he tweeted about it. I don't know if it's still up on his page, but
That's wild.
yeah. That's why Meek needs to get rid of his Twitter, because then now people are saying like, well, now you're a rat because now you snitching on like the governor to
So now he just looks
academics.
stupid.
Yeah, he just gotta chill out. But
And then he literally crashed his car
literally crashed out.
yesterday, I think.
Yeah,
People out there conspiracy about that. They're like, is Diddy trying to take him out? Is
because
somebody trying to take him out? Is he faked the crash to take the tension away.
Yeah, because he's saying that the brake pedal fell off.
Yeah, and apparently it's a new car.
Yeah. So I don't know. This whole situation is wild. I don't want to. Obviously hope the assault part isn't true. If
Yeah.
he is DL, then just be DL, but just be safe about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, that's my whole thing.
But the assault part, we don't know.
When people talk about, like, just living your truth, that's cap. You absolutely cannot live in your truth if that's, like, what you do. Because number
Well,
one,
the assault, no, I'm not talking about assaulting. I'm just talking about, like, your sexuality.
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't live in your truth with that stuff. Like women
of
say
what
that
comes
all
with
the
it.
time,
Yeah.
but like. The women say that type of stuff until they have a gay son, and then it's
Yeah.
women be like, I don't want to. Can I say it?
No, it is funny though, because
Can I
they'll have
say-
gay best friends, but
Can I
then they
say
don't
black
want
women
gay
are
friends.
like the most
No,
homophobic
they
people?
are. But they'll have gay best friends, but then God forbid they get a gay son.
Yeah.
It's very telling.
I don't want to talk about it in this clip, but yeah, maybe at a different day we could talk about it. But yeah, that's why black men can't live in their truth. Like, they'd be like, oh, just come out, blah blah blah. I remember I was
People
watching.
get killed too for those things.
Yeah.
For some reason, it enrages others, which is kind of an interesting thing. Cause why are you mad?
I was watching the Yachty's podcast he did with Arrogant Tay, which is still like my favorite one that they've done. I think it was mad funny. But Tay was talking about that. He was like, we don't even live in a society where men can do that, because the second you do that, like, nobody's accepting of it.
Yeah.
You're gonna start getting called all types of names and doing all this other stuff.
Which is so weird, because it's like, who cares at the end of the day? Like, why do you care what someone else is doing with their body and their genitals?
I was always of the perspective that makes you more gay than anything.
No, literally. Like, the only time I care is if you're messing with me. Like, no, I'm not. Like, if a woman is like a lesbian and she's like coming out to me and I'm not a lesbian, then that's when I get annoyed, because like, stop. Like, I don't want you. I'm straight. Like, respect that I'm straight. Other than that, it doesn't affect me. Like, why does what that other man's doing in his free time, why does that bother you so much to the point that you're so enraged? Like that for me makes me feel like you're mad that you're holding your true self in. Yeah. Like Boozy is like very suspicious to me, because it's like, why are you so upset?
That's that. You know,
so weird.
It's that Southern culture though.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not impacting you though.
It's not. Yeah, logically, nobody should care.
Yeah.
But it's that, we're from these places. You know how they are down there.
Yeah.
And, well, really not just down south. It's really the rest of the country. I think we have the East Coast.
Bubble.
We have the East Coast and we have the West Coast, and
yeah.
I think everything between that
and
is
Florida.
like super homophobic.
Yeah, we just happen to be in like one of the most like accepting, open, melting pot places in the whole world.
They're just conservative in general, but
yeah,
like again, that whole industry. Like, part of me really just wants to get popping just to go over there, just gather the intel,
just to observe,
and I'll bring it back to y'all, and I'm gonna leave the country. I'm gonna leave the country and go to another.
It does
part of
make
the
me
world.
wonder if there's really like threats and stuff that make people scared.
100%.
I'm sure people have seen stuff and they're scared to just
see, because even if there is videos and stuff like that, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I heard there was another video about somebody recorded somebody. Oh, they were just saying that on a Gilly and Wallow thing. They were saying that somebody had recorded a video at one of these places.
But last time they take your phones from you. So
yeah, that's why I'm surprised. That's why I'm surprised.
But I would love to get some intel. I wish.
I would
Oh
risk
God.
my life to bring this info back to y'all. I swear.
Nah, I wouldn't risk my life. I just want to do it for my own sake of knowing.
Yeah, but I feel like once they know, you remember, like, because we run out of time. Remember when that guy had some info about like aliens?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, the Men in Black was walking up his steps.
Yeah.
I feel like low key, I don't believe in Illuminati, but I do feel like those kind of things do exist. Because look at the allegations against Diddy with blowing up Kid Cudi's car.
Yeah.
Like, so this stuff is not like it's a fake thing.
Because that's your money. Like, you're messing with people's money when you have allegations like this that could ruin your life and ruin your career. So
Yeah.
when you mess with people's money, your life might be on the line.
Yeah, and this could be one of those situations. So we'll see. And that's
I
the
just
other
hope
thing
this
about
person is lying, because Cassie might have opened the book
for everybody
to
lawsuits.
get money.
And Cat Williams saying it's gonna be the year of exposing everything. So
yeah, he started the year of Rocky, and the year's been
you've been
going crazy.
It's going exactly like what he said. And academics better watch out, because
Yeah.
if he is exposing something, you never know.
Yeah.
Not to be all conspiracy with it, but yeah, it's a interesting story. But again, we won't make any concrete, definitive opinions on it until we get some more information on it. So we'll stay tuned.
Yeah.
Well, doing a hard transition on this one.
Yeah.
Completely different topic on this one, but yeah, we always know that
There's
there's
a TikTok. That's where this one came from.
So we'll give some perspective. So ungrateful women have hit the internet again with this whole concept of dinners
And not to
and
cut you
dates.
off too, I think it's ungrateful women, but I also do feel like it's trolling. We have to at one point feel like they have to be trolling. I think
I don't think so.
some of it might be.
Some of it might be, but I actually legitimately think that there's men out there. Let's get background first.
Okay, yeah.
So women are debating over how much money should be spent on someone for
For
lunch dates.
Like if your man's gonna send you lunch, or if your man's gonna send you lunch money, how
Yeah.
much he should be sending you or cash apping you.
Yeah. So first and
And the
foremost,
girl said it should be like $100. I'm like,
okay, that's a troll, but we got to recognize a couple different things here. First of all,
I'm about to go in.
your partner is not entitled to feed you. So that's whether it's the man paying for the woman or the woman cooking the food for the man. Like nobody's entitled to anything. Like if you want to do something nice, then do something nice. So
The only
that's first.
person who's entitled to feed you is when you're under the age of 18 and your
Yeah.
parents.
So that's first and
That's
foremost.
it.
So if somebody wants to be nice and pay for your lunch or dinner, and like, cause I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like I don't not
You
do
send me
that.
random money.
I sent you. I do all that kind of stuff.
Even
So
before COVID, like when we was in office, you used to send me like $20 randomly for lunch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or we'll go out to do like $300 dinners and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to paying obnoxious amounts of money to go eat some regular chicken that I could have got from Stop and Shop. So I'm not opposed to those different things. But everybody does have to recognize that nobody's obligated to do anything, and especially when it comes to the luxury of you going out to eat for
Yeah.
like lunch. Like you can just make your food at home and burn
Yeah.
your lunch.
Go make a fucking turkey
Yeah,
sandwich
yeah, go
with
make it-
mayo and mustard.
Yeah, and go to work with your lunchbox. That's what I do personally. I used to eat out all the time in New York. Nah, we're not doing that no more. I'm not paying
Yeah.
$30 for Chipotle every day.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's first and foremost. Now, second, it's like we do have to recognize that unfortunately there are some guys that get money and are tricks. So they will just trick their way all over the world and impact the mentality of the women that they're paying for. So there are some women out there where they're saying like, yeah, I want $100 for lunch because they might legitimately have been exposed to that because
Yeah.
they were like they're just dealing with men that have money.
But they were exposed to it and couldn't keep it. So what does that say? Could they be that? I hate when women do that. Like, oh, that's what I'm used to. The man I was with, he used to do that. And then the guy's rebuttal is, what happened to him? Where he at? Where's the ring? And then that's when they get quiet. Because, yeah, you couldn't even keep him. So that's the standard of life you want, but you couldn't even keep the person that was giving you that life.
Yeah, because they're probably trash.
Yeah, because usually those, no offense, but a lot of those people are trash. Because they use, the women too. But both of them are trash in my opinion. But a lot of times guys use money as a mask. They don't do any other work for their personality, for communication styles, for emotional intelligence, for empathy, for loyalty. They don't do any of the work that goes into having a relationship because they just focus on and they depend on just the ability to provide. And they think that's it. That's all they got to do. And the women that are attracted to that usually are just as trash in my opinion also because they're just as superficial.
Bro, tricking is the craziest concept to me.
It's lame.
Like I get it. Trust me, I get it. Like you got money, like throwing it.
Not get any girl I want.
I got it.
And
Like
I feel like I'm the man because I could pay for everything that this girl wants. Like it's an ego boost for them.
yeah, and
They don't love
it's
themselves.
convenient.
They don't love themselves, in my opinion.
It gets you from point A to point B a lot faster than
Yeah.
going through the normal steps to do so. So I
And
definitely
they probably
get it.
couldn't get girls before they got that money.
And even that's not necessarily
Hot
true
take.
because NBA players are like, from what I heard, they sick with the tricking. Like they're not even like every other athlete
But
is
that's what
normal.
I mean. Like they might have been like nerds or like they didn't really get girls until like the girls saw, oh, he's just a prospective NBA player. You know, once they saw that dollar signs, that's when they were like,
Yeah, tricking's wild. Like
But I'm not saying that necessarily because there are attractive like NBA players, obviously, who probably were getting girls when they were nobodies. But I'm just saying like there definitely is a caliber of them that
it's to the
depend on
extent
the
that they
money.
do it though. Like they like
like the
the
Mariah Mills
bags.
situation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like they be going like crazy. I'm like, bro, they act like they never seen a woman where they come from.
You know what it is? It's because they hear so much about what these rappers are talking about, so now they feel like they live up to that. So they hear, you know, like you just heard Quavo. What that song you just playing? Like turn your
Click up.
bitch up, dog. Like so you're hearing that rap and you're like, yeah, I'm about to turn my bitch up. Yeah. Like, you know, 'cause a lot of people, both men and women, are insecure. So men are just as insecure as a lot of women are, and they hear these raps and they feel like that's what it is to be a man. Like You gotta turn your girl up. You gotta buy her stuff. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And
You
they
you
get to that money and they feeling like that's their value. Like that's all they know as a man is their value is providing.
and you should do that, but when it's your girl, you should do that. You're doing
Yeah,
that
don't do
with
that to anybody.
with anybody just because you like buying somebody a $5,000 Chanel bag because they paid attention to you for like 6 hours is crazy work to me.
And men are like feeding into this like destructive society. Like it's you guys' fault. Like nip it in the bud. Cause then these women want to even expect these things and they're not getting it until like the only woman that should be getting this type of treatment is the wife, is the main girl, is the main girlfriend, is the girl that you really are down for. Like,
That's the part that's confusing because like, why are they overvaluing the women? I don't get it.
it's a man issue.
It is a man issue. That's a skill issue.
Why?
Yeah, y'all gotta, and it's like the people y'all like putting a value on, they're not even really.
All of that. Cause you guys are in the power is in your hand. Like the only reason why the
That's the
OnlyFans
thing.
industry and the sex work industry is what it is because of men. The power is in you. The ball's in you guys' court. Like men complain about it, but you guys are the ones that's feeding into it. You guys are the ones that are paying for it.
Now, for me, I don't care.
OnlyFans.
Let me get that clear
Not
because
you,
it
but-
doesn't matter to me because I'm not in that like racket. I'm not playing those type of games, so it doesn't matter to
Yeah.
me. But I will say that the men that do complain about it though are the ones that can't compete.
That too.
Because you're
yeah.
upset that they're doing that because they have a lot of money. Because that's what I don't want to make it sound like that's what I'm saying is the issue. I just think that they're dumb for doing that, but it doesn't matter to me. But the men that complain about the men that do that, they can't compete
Yeah.
and don't want to compete, and it's hard to, right? Like how are you gonna go against somebody that just signed $100 million contract? Like you're never gonna get the attention that he's gonna get. So I do get it, but at the same time, it's like they don't want to compete.
Yeah.
Or can't, and then they're upset about it.
Yeah.
But y'all should stop tricking to the extent that y'all do. Like y'all inflating the price of the women more than it needs to be, and then it comes to these topics where they're still expecting $100 for a salad.
And that's a trickle down effect. Is that doing that gassed up the heads of what I consider women who are tens, which rightfully so, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then the trickle down effect is that the women who are like 4s and 3s who look crazy, who are built crazy, who are bums, are feeling this sense of entitlement too. And it's like, hold up now. Hold your horses. You look crazy, so relax. Like, it was almost like with this whole Risa Tisa thing, right? Some women try to say, like, no offense, but Risa Tisa, you don't look like the type of woman who a VP would even have on his arm. And I was like, oop. Because no offense, that is kind of true. Like, a lot of women amplify their value because they feel like this vagina is the end all be all. I have a vagina and that's it. No. Hold up. Lots of these like what they consider high value men want eye candy. They want a girl with a nice body who's fit, who takes care of herself. Because also, it's not even about eye candy. A woman who I feel like, in my opinion, who takes care of her body, takes care of herself, is going to take care of their family. Is going to take care of, no, I'm saying like it shows a level of like, if you have that type of discipline and care of yourself, I feel like the best trait to have is showing a sense of self-worth and self-love. If you show that you don't really love or care for yourself, how are you going to care for my kids? How are you going to care for me? And I'm going to just provide for you. So I feel like these like men of like stature, like and value and status, they want the woman, more likely than not, in my opinion, who looks good, who's beautiful, who takes care of herself. So that's what the trickle down effect like bugs me out, because I'm like, you look crazy. Like, why are these women walking around with this sense of inflated egos? It's because women who do deserve that treatment is influencing them to the point that they're delusional. Like, look at yourself in the mirror before you think you're entitled to certain treatment. No offense.
Yeah.
Because like the way that they value like a man has to have all these different checks. Like he gotta be 6'3", fit, have money. But then when I say you gotta look good, be fit, take care of yourself, then it's whoa, you're a pick me. Like, no, bitch, you look crazy. You look crazy. You're built bad. You're not gonna get the man that's 6'3", who's making $500K a year. Like, you're at the bottom of that competitive list, unless that guy has a fetish for that, and that's what he wants.
Yeah, he might just be bored.
He might just be bored, but it's like but when I say that, I probably sound crazy and I sound wrong. But it's like, how come they're allowed to have all these standards for men, all these boxes that men have to check off, but I can't be honest about what boxes they should be checking off?
Yeah, we need like people should look at the tricking chart properly, right? Because if there's the woman, what's a good looking woman?
There's a lot of them. I consider that one girl, if you want to consider like out of our community, that one that Justin Bieber got famous. She dated Lewis Hamilton. Cindy.
Wolfie Cindy.
Yeah,
Yes.
like I feel like she has like a very unique, like pretty face, like, and her body's nice. Like she's just like fit and like model type. And
Okay.
look who she got, Lewis Hamilton, because of who she is.
Right. That's where we got to put like the chart, right? So you
Yeah.
have Lewis Hamilton,
One of the best
arguably
F1,
one of
yeah.
the best F1 drivers of all time.
Yeah, one of the richest too. Right?
Oh, the race was today, wasn't it?
No, Samara. I thought it was Sundays.
Nah, it's I think because of Ramadan, it was today.
Oh,
And you take him, I think he's about to make like $100 million a year when he moves over. Yeah,
oh, it happened.
Verstappen won.
Oh
Of
my
course.
God, what is wrong? This is.
let's skip
He's in his
past
Lewis
it.
Hamilton era right now.
Let's get past it. The people on this video
Verstappen.
gonna have no idea what we even saying.
What? This is crazy because he dominated like last year.
So you have one of the most successful athletes in their particular sport in all time.
Yeah.
And then you have Wolfie Cindy, who I would say is probably more attractive than probably 98% of the people in the
Yeah.
world. So, which might be a little bit of a glaze, but
No, but she's
when you look
definitely
at
like, you know,
when you look at the average person that's out
yeah.
here,
Like that's why if Justin Bieber saw her, we're like, who the fuck is that?
yeah. So that makes sense, right? That parallel makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where on the tricking chart it gets messed up is where you have a Lewis Hamilton messing with the person that works at like Popeyes, like, and it's not even where they work, but. Let me not say that. Let me not be disparaging people. But sometimes you have the people that disrupt it, where you have the person that has all that money, and
Yeah.
maybe they just needed somebody to take home for the night. Like,
Yeah.
like we know.
Like the Drake situation.
Would it be too much to expose like the Sway Lee thing?
Oh, what, the girl that went to Montclair? Or Bloomfield?
Never mind. You made it too specific.
No, she went to Bloomfield, I think.
It's fine. But anyway, we know
Oh,
some.
yeah, I
We know
forgot
some
about that,
like a
yeah.
regular looking person that basically.
Very regular, basic looking. No offense. I
No,
hope
Yeah, that's you're not supposed to say specific
they
information.
probably don't know.
Anyway, sometimes that does happen.
Yeah, that was crazy. I
which
forgot about her.
which messes up the trickometer scale.
Yeah.
But really, idealistically, what it should be is that people that are at a certain status should mess with people that are of a certain status in their respective fields. So while I know Wolfie Cindy isn't a F1 driver, whatever her attractiveness, her beauty, or modeling, or whatever else it is that she does, those two things should equate all the way down the
Yeah.
scale. So when you might be down here,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have the expectation of you being able to get this. Now there
Yeah.
might be some exceptions if that guy just
That's the thing. There are exceptions because, like we said, we saw with Drake's baby mama. No offense, it's her body that kind of got her to where she's at. But you know, it wasn't like a one night stand. He was just kind of tricking on this butterface and got her pregnant. You know, one off chance, but she still had at least the body, right? I guess.
Yeah. So, but
get
people
hurt.
shouldn't like equate those two things. So we do have those exceptions, especially when like they're like the super hornballs.
Yeah.
They're more likely to make those kind of
Yeah. The
mistakes.
thing with the super hornballs, they're more likely, like you said, to hook up with a random, like even people that we know. Like that's actually a common thing. Like lots of college girls, like there's probably more people on our campus that have probably had some type of contact with celebrities than we would even know. Because like you see, even in my situation, how I like was talking to Eagles football players. Like it's not hard to make that connection. And if you're like a decent looking person, it's not hard for at least to get to the one night stand aspect of stuff. But nothing beyond that, in my opinion. Like it's not like you're about to get the bags, the trips, and all this other stuff that comes with it. Like you might just be another
That's the other
warm
part.
body for the night. Like
Yeah.
when you look mid, and sometimes those mid people end up just accidentally getting pregnant because the man's so drunk or just into it. But you're not gonna get like usually all the perks that they're looking for, the money, the trips. You know.
Yeah. To take it back. So basically, like
Yeah. Yeah.
with the $30 date thing,
Yeah, get back to the root. Or $30 lunch.
a $30 lunch. Women shouldn't be expecting certain price ranges on certain things and expect a certain lifestyle if they can't really if they don't really command it based on how they are physically or their personality or their accomplishments.
Yeah.
You should really be realistic. Like you shouldn't, like the same way I wouldn't think that I could go bag like some like actress in Hollywood
Yeah.
because I don't have that type of stature.
Yeah.
Women should feel the same way. So I wouldn't just like go get some Hollywood actress and like it's just not gonna happen. So
Yeah.
people should feel the same way. So people should really tailor their expectations based off of what their value is, but people don't even know what their value is because they have such this
They're
inflated ego,
delusional.
and it's crazy. Like you should be realistic, and being realistic helps you more than anything,
Yeah.
because it lets you know where to navigate, how to navigate life better if
It's
you
not.
know where
It's
you
not
fall.
being like people try to say, oh, they just love themselves, have some self love. Like the most loving thing you could do for yourself is to be realistic and to be honest. Like that. Like loving yourself doesn't mean being delusional. That actually means, to me, it translates to you hate yourself by being delusional because you're not even being real enough, but you're honest enough with yourself of who you are and where you need to improve.
Yeah, I think people don't want to be realistic for the obvious reason, like because it would make them honest, and
Yeah.
they would actually confirm where they actually fall in society, and I think
Yeah.
that would make them upset.
Yeah. Like I think people, that's why, the whole Delulu thing became a trend because people want to live in that because they don't want to face the harsh reality of who they are and what they are. But living your truth, like, and work harder. If you want to be somebody better, then be better. Like I get when it comes to as far as genetics, like there's only so much you can do about your looks, right? But not necessarily. I've seen people who kind of were like who made themselves very like nice. They lost weight. They maybe got some more makeup skills. They did their hair a different way, and then they took their level. They took their image up to another level. But people don't realize that type of stuff takes work. Like even when it comes to the makeup, right? Like you see, it took me like years. I've been doing my makeup since I was like a teen. I didn't just do this overnight. I've been really practicing. Like I put so much care into my image for years. This is how I look today is years in the making. But people don't want to put in that work. They're lazy. But then they wouldn't be delusional at the same time. So it's just like confusing. But yeah, I do agree. Most people don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to look inward. So it's almost like a fear. Because they know when they really do that work, they're going to realize, yeah, like no offense, you're kind of a loser. You're kind of bottom tier.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like I never get upset about, not in the same way that guys do, about women having certain requirements, because you can have requirements as long as
You meet those.
you meet the requirements. So like if the woman is asking for the guy that's 6'6", 250 that plays in the NFL and has a multi-million-dollar contract, you have to, in my opinion, look the part or be the part.
At least look the part.
Yeah, at a minimum, because women can coast through life just based on their looks.
Yeah.
At a minimum, look the part, but also you should have good personality traits and all those other
Yeah.
things. That stuff's important too. But I'm not mad at the $30 dates. I mean, I'm sorry, I keep saying $30 dates. $30 lunches. I'm not mad at that, and it's not like $30 is a lot of money. I've spent more on lunches.
But that's
just
where
being in
I
New
am
York.
mad at it because why do you need any more than that for lunch? Unless you were a big back baboon. Because like, what do you need?
What are you eating?
What are you eating?
It gets expensive though.
No, but realistically, an average meal, an average lunch doesn't cost you over $30. Like when I'm at work, I spend like $15 on lunch in my building. Like the average lunch special, like most places have lunch specials. The average lunch should not cost you more than $30. Lunch is a salad. Lunch is a sandwich. People, if you're eating a 3-course meal for lunch, then don't be shocked when you weigh 289 pounds.
Well, for me, when I go to work, like if I did get something like Chipotle, that's $21.
Yeah, but even still, that's under 30.
It is.
Like you need, like what do these women need $100 for? They eating appetizers, first course, second course, dessert.
Sometimes
for lunch?
I think it depends where you go, because the people that do lunch
Every day.
Yeah, that's.
But then that's why those people be big back baboons.
No, not even.
Okay.
Literally, not even that. Because it's not the amount of food you're getting; it's the cost of the food. I don't know where this TikTok person lives, but my perspective is different. Because remember we talked about. Don't make that noise again. My perspective is different because I work in New York. But yeah, people have sit down restaurant lunches, which will exceed $30. So I think it just depends on.
But realistically, like I don't think anybody should be eating that much food. That's costing.
You keep saying it's that much food, but it could be like a very minimal amount of food for $30, depending on where you eat.
That's the issue. That's the thing. $30 we're saying is fine. This girl wanted $100. I think we're saying that's the issue. Like, why are you spending that much money on lunch?
Yeah, we think she's just a troll though.
Yeah, $30 is the standard. I think. I don't think anybody's saying that's the issue. That's what people were saying. $30 is not the issue.
Oh, right. Oh, I thought you were saying $30 is.
She was saying $30 isn't enough. That was the part people had an issue. Like $30 is more than enough. That's like lunch. That's like
that was
that's
my
like
disconnect.
yeah. Like $30 should be like in my perspective the max that you should spend on lunch. And that's what people were saying. Like $30 is enough. Like that's lunch.
20's pushing it for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like,
Chipotle, because that's why I don't even go to Chipotle anymore. Because I'm like, it's a lot of food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to restaurants during lunch. Like that's
max.
That's just wasting my time. Like
lunch should just only be like a midday meal that's gets you your energy and that's it. Like dinner is really your bigger meal Could you
Which it
wanna
really shouldn't be your
wait,
bigger meal either.
ironically enough, it shouldn't be because you go to sleep after that, and that's
Your
why
lunch and
people.
your dinner should both be it should be 700 calories or less.
Yeah.
They should both be the same. That's why when I meal prep, whatever I eat for lunch is the same thing I eat for dinner. Like you shouldn't eat more just because it's dinner. I know everybody's used to the whole grand, this is what it has to be, and lunch is just supposed to be a sandwich and chips. Like that's not.
Isn't that funny though that we're so indoctrinated to like what we do that we don't realize how actually crazy it is? Because like, you're gonna eat a big meal and then you're gonna go lay down and
Yes.
let that stuff sit in you for hours and hours and hours, and then people wonder why they just gain weight. I don't know.
Yeah, if anything, you should have a big lunch or a big breakfast.
Yeah.
It should.
Especially if you go to the gym, you eat a big lunch so you have energy to burn that, and then eat
Okay.
a small dinner.
Now I have a whole different perspective, and I feel like this was a waste of 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, she was saying $30 isn't enough. She's like, don't give me no $30 for lunch. I need $100.
$100.
And that's why I said big back baboon. Because what do you need $100 for lunch every day? Unless you are a big back baboon.
What does $100 get you at lunch?
For me, it would give it the meal I eat. I work like 10 times. Cause my meals I work are like $10. Like I pretend.
$100 like a meal prep for like a month.
Yeah. Like even if you go to a restaurant, it's actually like kind of hard to spend $100.
But,
Like yeah, like when we just went to go eat, like our meals cost like 30. Our actual meal, our entree.
we almost spent $100 in just drinks.
Yeah, but I'm saying don't include drinks. Like if you're talking about just your lunch that you're eating, like your food, our meal costs like $30. Like you don't need appetizers and all that stuff. Like your actual meal, if you're eating just a lunch, like a quick lunch. That's the thing. Lunches are not even small, just for the fact that people think lunch should be small. They're small because it's time. Like we have work to do.
Yeah.
So you don't have time to eat a big meal.
We have ate at some really expensive restaurants, and I don't think.
Yeah, we eat expensive restaurants, but then think about the entree costs. The entree cost has never been very crazy. Our biggest expense is probably the drinks and the tax.
I think the most I've ever spent on an entree might have been like 50.
Yeah, like 40, 50. Like for me,
For an expensive
my most
restaurant.
expensive entree actually might have been our anniversary, that pasta and lobster. That was like 50, 60, I think. That was up there.
Yeah.
Usually when I do get seafood, it's always market price, so that's why it's usually more expensive.
Yeah, 100 for lunch is nuts.
Yeah.
100 for any dinner. Honestly, $100 in general is nuts. Like we go to quote unquote nice restaurants. I'm more so paying for the ambiance, the food itself. Like there's never any life changing food to me. Food is never that deep. But yeah, $100 just for a random lunch. I'd like to know where that person like lives or works.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the actual video. She's like,
that would also give a different perspective because New York, maybe you could get away with that. Texas, maybe you could get away with that. Florida, Chicago, like the major cities, you might be able to get away with that if your lunch is like business lunches.
yeah.
Because those can get expensive, but you're just
Other than
average
that.
person living in Wisconsin. Like you should never be paying $100 for any lunch.
And this is her. She was just basically saying a story time. Would you be mad if someone sent you $30 for lunch? And I guess she was just like upset because, like, that's too much for her. And I feel this person in the comments says it's women out here that are still getting the bare minimum, and you complain about $30. So yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Women need to remove their entitlement. Just because somebody,
She
just because you're,
deleted the video too,
of
by
course,
the way.
of course, the tweeters and the leaders. Anybody. And it's anybody, right? Whatever a man feels like they bring value, and a lot of times women feel like men's value is money, and whatever the opposite is that women do that men take for granted. Everybody should just stop with that shit. Like, if you can pay for your own $30 meal, like you should be able to pay for your own $30 meal.
Yeah.
So if somebody's paying for whatever, you should be able to pay for it yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be grateful either way because they're saving you money no matter what. Like if you wouldn't pay for it for yourself, then don't expect it from somebody else. Unless you're with somebody that's making like $10 million a year and you're poor. But even then
$30 is enough, and
That's-
even
yeah.
for lunch. Like what? And that's the thing. I didn't actually watch the TikTok, so again, not doing my journalistic duties, but like that's why I didn't watch it because I was like, all right, I'm not about to listen to another bird brain come up here and complain. And last time, the funny part is a lot of these people who have these like expectations, like I guarantee you they don't have anything for themselves. Like I guarantee you there's no retirement income being saved and built anywhere, right? Like I don't know. No offense, I just know my people, and I don't feel like that's being done.
they ain't seen a 401k.
They don't even know what a 401k is. They equate that to being like 40 years old when realistically you should get a 401k the second you have your first full-time job. at 20, 21, 22.
And people that live a fast life, they might not necessarily need a 401k either. So I do recognize that too.
They might not need one, but
You
that's the
don't.
thing. Like we're seeing, like, you know, we see it seen in our with our own eyes. A lot of the YouTubers that we grew up with, a lot of the Vine kids that we grew up with, are now working regular jobs because they had that mindset. I don't need to save for the future. I don't need to save for it because they see that money now. Like, you should always be saving for the future, always investing for the future, because nothing is a guarantee, especially in the entertainment world. It's so volatile for me that I would be scared. I would be having money tucked away as an entertainer, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like that entitlement is just so crazy. Like, that complaining is so crazy. And like I said, like, $30 is like, in any country, any place in the world, is enough for lunch. Cause I'm sure the average like lunch entree is probably like $20-$30. Like, any restaurant, it's like I said, even with lunch specials, you could get a meal and a drink for $30. Cava, Chipotle, Popeyes. You didn't want to do like a nicer, bougier spot. I'm sure $30 could still get you a quick lunch. You know. It's a shame that this girl deleted her video. I want to go to her profile and analyze her lifestyle to see if she's somebody who would be the person that should be saying these type of things.
Yeah. Anything else?
Nah. I'm looking at all the TikToks of people who say me with that $30 he sent me for lunch. Yeah, because that's the thing. $30 could get you a lot of stuff. Like that pizza that she just showed. You could get a whole little pizza deal from Popeyes. I mean, I'm not Popeyes. Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy that this was all a huge discourse. But you see, people ain't been talking about it in the last 2 days. That's why I'm like, let's get on this topic. Because
yeah, people should God, this topics. I feel like I lose brain cells anytime we do a podcast.
For real, and it's always freaking people. Like,
for me, is this right? People want too much community when it comes to these type of things. Like, they want people to share that same mentality. Like, if your perspective is that it should be $100, then just go, have that be what you want, and then just go sit in the corner. And if you feel like $30 is more than enough, then that's fine. Just go sit in the corner. Like, nobody cares. But I feel like people want too much community, and they want to, like, almost low key, like, it's almost like fabricating a lifestyle, right? Because you want to make that post to make it seem like you're really getting money, to like try to brag to people, and that's cool. But like, just stay over there. Like, if that doesn't meet your expectations, then just go find somebody where that meets your expectations.
Yeah.
And if you got accustomed to that because of something somebody else did, then maybe you should have done better to hold on to them, or go find the next person that does do that. And that's like, that's really where it started.
Yeah, don't get on the internet and start disparaging a man who didn't have to even send you that money in the first place. Like, that entitlement is crazy. He didn't even have to send you that money. And this what you gonna do? You gonna come on the internet and try to like embarrass him almost? Like, you're lame.
I hate social media, bro.
Yeah.
It really birthed
the corniest individuals.
because it was. I feel like it would have been better if these type of lifestyles, like, if people were unaware of what it was, because that whole lifestyles of the rich and famous was like, became a thing because nobody knew how rich people actually lived. So that was the first time that kind of stuff was getting exposed. But now, because everybody has social media, you get to see it every day, and it like melted the brains of all of the people,
and people feel like
that are
so
normal.
Accessible.
Yeah, and it's really not. Like,
and they think it's so accessible without putting the work in.
It's not. Like, no regular person is getting scooped up and getting put into, like, and by regular I mean person that you would walk by the street and wouldn't even look at them twice. Like, just regular, everyday, normal, average looking people. You're never gonna jump to these heights, like, ever. Like,
the people that got that money are the smallest percentage of people in
the world.
Yeah. And you think you're gonna be chosen by one of them?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Of course, there's somebody out there that could be watching it, and you might get chosen.
Yeah.
Congrats. But for everybody else, you down here stuck with the rest of us.
And that's why they become 40 and start scrambling, start dating the bum, because that's all they could get at that point. Like, all of a sudden they be ready to settle when they're 40. But when they're 29, 28, 27, 26, early 20s, it's disparaging the people that were in their league that whole time,
Yeah.
Bums, a bunch of bums. What's that TikTok sound? A bunch of bums.
What we got next?
Sex on the first link.
No, here we go. Oh, God.
You know what's funny though? All these topics are always are freaking people. I mean, you know what's funny though? Like I hate to have that mindset because somebody made a good point where they said that like those of us who actually grew up around white people, like that's what somebody was having trying to have a debate that they feel like a lot of people who like grew up in black neighborhoods, right? And then they went to a HBCU and like they just stayed in that blackness. That's all they know, right? Grew up in a black neighborhood, maybe grew up in a predominantly black school, went to HBCU, right? So then they put white people on a pedestal. They act like white people, Indians, everybody who's non-black, their community is like, oh, their communities don't debate this. They don't do that. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And like I think I grew up in a lot more white neighborhood than you did, right? But like that's the thing. When you're exposed to actual diversity, you go to a PWI, you go to a like predominantly white hometown, but still have black community. Like it was a good mix, right? I feel like I had a perfect mix. Like I grew up with the mom from Brooklyn who grew up in the hip hop era, like Biggie Smalls around the corner type of vibe, right? And like I had my black community at Montclair, I had my black community where I grew up, but then still had a lot of white people around me. You get a full picture. They talk about these things in their community too. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's just our community. Like they definitely have these talks. We just aren't privy to their conversations because our algorithms are based off our interests
Yeah, they have these conversations, but I
all the
think
time.
I think the biggest part about it is that it doesn't. These conversations don't impact their communities the way ours
Yeah,
does,
cause
because
we take it to heart, like all these type of talks.
and we also don't have the same amount of people that have a certain like success level either.
That's true.
So like they can have a group of people that think something crazy in their particular ethnic groups,
Yeah,
but it doesn't overshadow the majority because they just have so much more people. So we have less people with a higher percentage that's speaking about these things, so it makes it seem like that's all there is. So that's why we have so many more entertainers than businessmen that are millionaires, um, more than somebody like white people, for example, where most of their millionaires come from having business. Most of our millionaires come from entertainment. So they'll look at black people, and this is not a pandering thing. I don't care what people think of us, but it is true that when somebody's gonna look at you, they're gonna look at our entire ethnic group as being
yeah,
like just rappers and athletes
yeah.
and
It's true.
basketball players and stuff like that. Whereas them, they have they have a wide breadth
Yeah,
of people. So for us, these conversations are more detrimental because they're so much more impactful because it infiltrates the whole community. They can have these conversations and it won't touch a whole like section of their existence.
yeah. But for us, like we're the minority in America, right? So like we're like America is like the what would you call it? Like the epicenter of social. I would say of
Yeah,
culture.
of culture.
So if we're a minority, black Americans, and just even the immigrants that are here too, right? We're a minority in this country. It's easy for us, like you said, to be infiltrated with these like mindsets, and it to be more impactful because we are a minority, and us being a minority, since we're the epicenter of culture, it becomes a majority because now our how we are looked at as Black Americans affects the whole world. So now the whole continent of Africa, they might be, black people anywhere, black people across the whole world are being impacted by just the majority of us in America. And it's, they're so heavily influenced, like, admittedly so, black people around the world are heavily influenced by us. So whenever they see what we're doing, it's impacting those communities. Like a lot of how we act over here is impacting how they are in Africa, in the UK, anywhere in the diaspora. So that's where it becomes harmful because we're a minority, but it's affecting the majority because our minority is a strong, powerful influence.
Yeah, and just to make sure I was getting my point across there, like we we don't have a lot of different differentiation in our communities where as other ethnic groups do. Like when you think of like you can point to other ethnic groups and you wouldn't necessarily have like, let me think, because again let's just use the standard white American ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
Like a large majority of them are middle class and higher. There's not really that many, percentage wise, there's not that many poor white people. There's really not.
Yeah.
Um for us, we don't have the same thing. So like when we're having any type of conversation or when it comes to like voting or just really anything in general related to us, the amount of money that the community spends, everything is just way more heightened, and so it's viewed like it's amplified
There's
because you
more poor of
basically,
us than the rich for us.
Yeah, like you're taking basically when things happen in our community, it's impacting the whole community. When stuff happens in their community, it's not the same.
It's just impacting a certain group.
Yeah, a certain group within their community. So for us, when we have these type of conversations, it seems so much more amplified than it should be. But that's because there's just not that much of us, and we don't have a ton of examples of really success where people don't have these kind of conversations. Like these kind of talks, like we're having it just from an intellectual perspective, but realistically, we shouldn't even be talking about it ourselves.
I know, because we're part of the problem.
Yeah, by like discussing it further.
Yeah, because we don't know where our reach could be or potentially be. So it's like, you adding to it.
Yeah. So I do recognize that, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's kind of one of those simultaneous things because I just started my 4th role in corporate, I think, or something like that the other day. So like it's still achieving. You've had multiple promotions, I think, right? Or
I've had one.
but
still.
But I mean,
4
like in
years
terms of
into
job roles, right? Like you've had 2 or 3.
This is my
Your third one, right?
Yeah.
So and we're 27. So
27.
we're one of those like the rare cases, I guess, in the Black community where we're making what are we, 90th percentile? We make more than
combined and individually, or both?
For me, it's both.
Yeah, for me, it's both too.
I think.
It's still
I don't know your calculation, but for us, we're
definitely the top half.
We're in the top 10% of earners in the country.
The top 10.
We're in the top 10% of earners in the country.
And our household income is like.
And both.
Yeah, it's still top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying it could be even smaller for our age.
For our age, I think I'm like top 7.
No, I'm talking about our household.
And household, I think is top. It's definitely top 10. I don't know if it's smaller than that though.
It's definitely up there.
It's up there.
It's up there for sure.
So we're like one of the rare exceptions. We could talk about these things, but also still have that level of success outside of entertainment. We kind of just do this
everything.
as a hobby.
That's the thing. Like we could talk about these things to do. Like you grew up in a town that had that diversity, right? So did I. I grew up in a town where a lot of kids from the inner cities that moved to Phillipsburg, New Jersey, right? And like Phillipsburg, New Jersey itself is a very low income city, and I went to school in that town. We went to school with people in Montclair State who come from poor homes. Probably were in school for free and we didn't even know it, or a lot of grants and we didn't even know it. So we've been around it enough, and we have family members, who parents even, like my dad was considered low income growing up. So it's like we have a very diverse scope, but we've seen all the sides and we lived with all the sides at one point. But then we also have come out to be successful, and we have been in successful spaces. So we can speak on it in a very well-rounded perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah. So with that being said, who gives a fuck? I don't think that. I think that, in my opinion, I'm more likely to think negatively of somebody if I was supposed to do that. God, why am I speaking like this? If I was to do that on the first date, I'm gonna think negatively about myself, and I'm also going to think negatively about the person.
But that's what this tweet was about, right? So the tweet said, if you F on the first link, he's definitely going to pitch you in a not serious box, and he's probably still looking for a girlfriend while he's effing you. Ladies, show me your rings from the first link, effing dates. And my perspective is like and I heard what you just said.
I ain't gonna finish, but
okay, sorry. Finish your perspective first.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna respect myself, which is a part of it. Let me retract the word respect. I'm gonna think differently of you if we did.
So you think that's like you are impacted by that? Like you think that happening does affect your mindset?
It does, but it also, where I want to be clear about that is that I'm also in the act. I think a lot of people, like a lot of men, be like, "Oh, she let you do this, then she does this."
Yeah,
but I'm not. Like you did the same thing, right? So what does that say to you? So that's what I'm saying. Like it would impact my mentality on it, but at the same time, I do look at it like I was a part of that too. So how is she gonna? No, right, I could have said no too. How is she gonna view me in that context?
Because a lot of times the men the one that initiates it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to look at it just from a neutral standpoint. Like I'll think differently, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'll think negatively. So I kind of want to like retract what I was saying. It'll make me just think differently. And I don't think that if you do that on the first link, that has any indication of how a relationship could go in the future. Cause maybe it was just the vibes. Like maybe the person's really into you and it's like, nah, this person's like really, and I know it's kind of hard maybe on a first date, but I think it depends on what people's first dates are. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes you might really get that vibe and that energy the first time you meet somebody, whether it's in a relationship context or like physical context or just like somebody that could be a friend. Like sometimes you might meet somebody for the first time and it's like, damn, like this person is like really cool. Like, but it depends, I think, on what your first date is. That those things could happen.
Yeah.
So to me, I'll think differently, but it's not necessarily negative because if she said yes, then that means I said yes too. So that means that we're in a mutual understanding at this point. And so I'll think differently because it's like, like, nah, she like said no, or it really just like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like if you tried to advance and then she said no, that would give me more respect. But if I tried to advance and she said yes, it doesn't have negative like I'm not going to look at it negatively. It's just going to kind of be neutral. And it could lead to a ring.
This is an interesting conversation.
And it could lead to a ring.
It could. But see, okay, so I have multiple perspectives. So my first and foremost perspective is that, like you said, it depends on the date. So I feel like if you are just having like if your date is like a movies, like going to the movies, and where there's no talking, there's no bonding, and then that happens, like you guys were just hornballs, in my opinion. But if you're having a first date and it's like maybe, I don't know, if like a mutual thing that you guys are interested in, so like maybe you guys are going like shopping because like you're into shopping, right? Or like maybe you guys are going to like an art show. Maybe you guys are going to a museum. Maybe you guys are going to dinner, right? And there's a lot of conversation that's being had and the vibes are just there. Like you just feel that connection. Like we're just bonding. The vibes are just there. Like, and if it happens, then it happens. That's like my outlook on it. I feel like that's not indicative. This tweet this woman made from what she perceives as the male's perspective. As trust me, that man is not taking you seriously. But I don't think that's true. And a lot of men were in the comments saying, no, like you're wrong because like if the vibes are right, like if anything, that's you might be my girl. Like that's like I'm feeling you, and like the vibes are just true. And like I don't think that's indicative too of how that girl is, easy or not, right? Like, cause you could give it up to this guy on the first date, and that could be like your third body ever in your life. Like I feel like that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And like I get it though that in some ways it could look crazy. Like I get it. Like, I'm not saying I don't get it. And like but like, that's why a lot of people are saying like I married the person that we slept together the first night. Like she was like, show me your rings. Like there's people that showing you
let
rings.
Let me interject there too because that is true. What I should have said in my answer is like it really just depends on the context. Like you got to take everything far back.
And I feel like guys are emotionally not emotionally intelligent. I wouldn't say that, but I just feel like some of you guys aren't.
Yeah, guys do have a lot of emotions.
Guys do have, and I just feel like humans have intuition, and you guys and people have radar, like what they call a hodar. I feel like a girl that's just an easy F and just giving up to you versus like this girl, you guys are just vibing. I mean, you could energy is so strong. You could feel that. When a girl is just like, what they call a bop, right? Like when a girl is a bop, and like you're probably just one of many for the week, or this is normal for her, because you could just tell like the way girls act sometimes, like who are easier women, they have this very obvious energy that I could tell as a woman.
Sometimes it'd be the ones.
No, but
it'd be the quiet ones.
But that's the thing that you could tell though, like it's like a script almost, like the same way sometimes girls can see through men in their script. I feel like guys can see through women in their script. Like some women have the same script, they have the same play. Like
if you've been exposed to it enough.
If you've been exposed to it enough, and I have just good off energy. Like I like no offense, I've had whole friends, and I could just tell like the way they act is very like every guy that we've been around is the same energy that they give these men. This is just very like. It's like your initial, like you lead with sex, you lead with promiscuity, like you lead with flirtiness, compared to we might be talking about some shit and then the vibes are just there and then we have sex. Like it's not like you could just tell there is a difference.
There's a difference, and I wanted to spin back on that one thing that the person said because I should have gave more context in my answer because it does matter like on the scenario itself. Mm-hmm. So in general, I feel like I would lead towards I'm just neutral no matter what, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, you might literally end up being in love with this girl,
Yeah.
like
Like off
based
the
off
first
of
link.
off the first link, based off of everything else, and it also depends on what the context was, where your conversations beforehand. Like
True.
if your concept of the first date is, yo, I just DM'd you, and then like within 24 hours I'm like, you're scheduling a date, that's gonna be different than if like your first quote unquote date is like you might have been talking for like a week or
month,
two
yeah.
before you actually like link up, which might sound crazy to people, but like, yeah, maybe you might just be talking and kind of trying to feel the vibes out, because you could have built like a whole like,
Yeah.
damn, like this person's really
like cool.
like really
I
cool.
can actually, yeah.
So then on the first
Like we're actually
date,
talking about other stuff instead of just linking and having sex. Like we're
Yeah.
actually having conversations about like real stuff.
so 2-3 weeks later, even though that was the first date or first link, like the vibes might be just completely different than if you were just like same day, same night, or like the day before, like you DMing. Like it all, so it depends. Like the whole context depends. So
Yeah.
for me to summarize, like I won't. It depends on what the energy was. Like if you DM me and was like, "Yo, I'm trying to get,"
Yeah, like you cute, like
I want you to
I
throw
need
me
that.
around the
Yeah.
room. Like,
you know what that's about.
then in those contexts, I'm gonna view you a certain way. But if it's just like, hey, like I like this whatever, like this song that you posted, or just whatever random thing it is, and you just talk to the person and get the vibes, and then on the first link, then it happens, and I'm gonna perceive that completely different than the soccer bopper that just like it's just going crazy.
And I feel like I said, I honestly feel like, you know, nothing is like so obvious. Like obviously people miss red flags all the time. Like people miss red flags like it's literally save their lives. Like there's people dead right now because they miss red flags, or people are easy to manipulate. But like I said, I really feel like you could pick up on those vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like you kind of know. So like, you know, like I'm not the type of person, I'm not scared to like talk about my life, my personal life. Like I have nothing to hide. Like for me, right? Like we had our first sexual experience, like what was it? Our third link, I would say, fourth link, third link. Our first link was when we met at the club, right? Second link was
that
like
don't count.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't a link.
So our first like
link
link then was like in the dorms, like playing pool, right? And then we cuddled on the floor.
That wasn't a link.
But that was still kind of a link. Like
No,
we
it's
linked
not.
up. Like no, we said where you at? And like I'm in Bone playing pool. I'm
No,
like
if you
okay,
wanna call
come
it,
in.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm saying like our first like hangout, right? Like I could easily turn into let's go back to my room, but it didn't. We was just sleeping on our friend's floor. Then there was like a second time I think we hung out. Then there was like an actual time that we hung out. It was on my birthday or the day before my birthday when we went to go eat lunch. That was like our first link. You said you wanted, like, you know, you dropped me off, nothing even happened. And you said, oh, I wanted to kiss. And then we didn't end up kissing that day. But then I think we ended up kissing on the next day, which was my birthday, which I was considered maybe our third or fourth link at that point. Then there was a time after that where I like slept over your room. And that's when like we kind of had more like sexual stuff. But then you actually like, I was actually having sex was like our fifth or sixth link. But it was still early. And our one-on-one, like actual hanging out, it was like our third time. Third or fourth.
Okay.
But regardless, it was still early.
Why do you bring that up?
Because I'm saying, like, because I like kind of relate to this conversation a little bit, because obviously we've been in a relationship like for that long, right? Like it's been 10 years since.
Yeah, but she's saying the first one.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't the first one, but it was still early, and it still could have.
Yeah, but that's not
but you still could have judged me off of that.
But that's not what this conversation is about. We're
Yeah,
talking
it's
about the
this first time. Yeah.
You brought up a whole. We
Okay,
linked
so,
up 6 different times.
It wasn't the
beforehand.
first, but it could. But that's the thing. It could have been the first if I wasn't a virgin. I think me being a virgin was like a ball on both sides of mine and yours. Of like, all right, maybe this is gonna take a little bit more warming up, but it could have potentially been a first link.
But it wasn't.
Situation.
But it wasn't.
But if it was, but I'm saying, but if it was, I feel like we still would have been together to this day, and that's the point I'm making.
We're dealing with hypotheticals, though. I don't want to.
We are dealing with hypotheticals, and who knows how that could have made you feel about me, but I don't know. I feel like we obviously vibe, so it was
honestly what I will
walls
say
are down for me
in a hypothetical sense. If in that scenario, I probably would I don't know.
You would have give me the deuces.
I would have been a lot more like not viewing you very highly.
No, I know.
At that particular time.
And even like
because I was 17.
Yeah, and even like it was some of the stuff already took away like your view of me, because I feel you viewed me highly at first because I was such this quiet, cool girl, you know, virgin or whatever. But then some stuff is like, all right, this girl's she might be like the rest of the moles. I'm just kidding. But it's like, you know, I can understand the male perspective of that though, because it's like there are a lot of women who do feel like, all right, do it. But that's what I'm saying. It's all about the vibe. It's all about the vibe.
You know the beautiful thing about our podcast not being big?
What?
Is that last like 30 seconds that you just said would get clipped OT.
Oh. What?
Nah. That's a beautiful thing because we could just we're like an hour and 20 minutes in. We could
I
just say
know.
whatever and nobody's gonna listen to it.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody's even listening right now.
Because you were basically just saying that you were like a thought.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. You know I wasn't that.
That's what you were saying. What you were saying because there was some of the other stuff that would make me feel
No,
like.
I'm talking
Don't
about.
clarify it.
I'm talking about me literally
Yeah.
giving a guy I just met 2 weeks ago my virginity. Like you. I mean, look, we're still together, so. But like lots of times, like the guy that does end up taking a woman's virginity is either sometimes the most randomest person ever, or is the person that you really know, or like I feel like there's no in between, and that could have looked crazy. Like, dang, this girl just threw it away like that to me. Like, could I, sometimes actually I feel that could be more worse than somebody who just was another body. Like, I feel like sometimes it could look crazier for the person that, like, wow, like I didn't even have to really put a lot of work in to take this girl's virginity. You know what I mean? But that's, from my perspective, it was the vibes, it was the energy. Because like realistically, I'm a woman. I could have lost my virginity at any point if I wanted to. Like, I had a friend who literally just hit up a random guy at school and said, "Hey, you want to take my virginity?" He was like, "Sure," and he took it. Like, it was real easy for her. If I really wanted to, some guy to take my virginity that bad, I'm a woman. It could have happened easily. Like, who's gonna say no to vagina, right? So that's why I do feel like the energy is real. Like, I do, I am of the belief that if you feel a vibe, if you feel that comfort with somebody, like I don't know why, like I just had this level of comfort with you that I didn't have with any other person in my life that was a stranger. Like, it's a weird thing, but I don't know. It was something about you. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very awkward and shy and like around people, and there was something about your energy. You know what I mean? Even the guy who I had my first kiss with, like I feel like the reason why me and him didn't really work out or nothing really came of that is because I was so awkward. I was so painfully awkward around him. But then the second I came to school, that was like not even a year later, like less than a year later, I met you, and it was just so seamless. Oh, the vibes were just there, so.
Yeah. So I don't think that.
Say all that to say.
I don't think sex on the first link is indicative of anything. It's not going to determine the future whether you're going to stay with that person or not. It really is inconsequential. Like, it really doesn't matter.
And I feel like a woman pushing this message is kind of crazy. Like,
yeah,
like let the man speak. Let the man speak. And even if a man did make a tweet like that, remember we talked about this last week. That's his perspective. Yeah. Every person is their own individual with their own beliefs. Some men view sex as nothing, so they'll wife anybody. They don't care who you are. That you might be Kanye just said it. I don't care. What he said, you a virgin to me. What he say in this song?
Well, he's sick. We never use Kanye's quotes for anything.
But a lot of guys feel that way. They don't care who your past is. You a virgin to me, girl. Like, yeah, you might have given up, but I'm still gonna wife you. Like, so I hate like when these type of topics happen anyway, because everybody has their own individual perspective, and there's so many different scenarios that take place.
Yep.
For me personally, as a woman, like I might be turned off by the guy who's very pushy. I might be. I'm like, all right, like, dang, this guy would be. But if the vibes are there, then the vibes are there. But if a guy does seem very pushy, I might judge that. And I feel like the same for a guy. A guy might judge that if a girl is very pushy and with it. But I feel like if the vibes are there and it just happens, then I'm rocking with it.
I think I'm rolling with pushy for me, I'm like I need to like connect on like an intellectual level. Mm-hmm. So like pushy, I'm not rocking. I'm not rolling. Yeah, but it would have to be like
girls that just push and yeah, and that's all they lead with, right? Like I'm sure you've experienced that. That's all they lead with, and it's like, dang, what else you got?
It would have to be some sort of like intellectual kind of conversation. Like bro. People let Regina run them, and it's crazy to me. For me, it's just like I can't look past her and stuff. So even if you're just annoying, like nah, like it's not even worth the headache. But I don't want to get into like all the specific criteria, but basically for me, yeah, it depends on just the vibe. Like I'm a talker too, so like I'm not really a talker, but like I like to know. Like I'm like an intellectual, I guess I would say. Like I like learning about certain stuff. So if I'm trying to learn somebody for the first time, I can't do that off like the first link, and also have like I'm scared of like attachment, like people being attached. So that's my other thing. So I'm like I would be more reserved in giving that up because like I'm kind of like super demon, so I don't want people to get like attached to that, and that would scare me. Like doing all that on like the first link.
Don't get smacked. No, because you pissing me off.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no,
What?
nothing.
What did I do?
Oh no, bro, no, because I'm not mad at you.
Oh my god. Why you not?
I'm saying no camera. But anyway,
Thank you guys for watching.
Let me finish.
Nah, we're done. We're going to get food.
Yeah, but we have one more topic. But
The women. No, we
um,
don't.
yeah, it's a quick one.
Oh Jesus.
But no, just like this is like the goal for you were saying real quick too. Like yeah, I feel like if I was a guy, like the perspective I would be like turned off by, or like the woman I would be turned off by. Like I said, the woman that leads with sex, like you know when a woman's value and their self esteem is tied to their vagina. Like you know when that's all they really have to offer. Cause they feel like that's all it takes to get a man to like you. Cause like in those moments like of sex, right? Whether you're like the ugliest person in the world, like you feel in that moment that like this guy is being pleasured by you, and like you feel like he cares about you, right? So a lot of women who are very insecure and just that's all they lead with, that's how they feel. So in those dates, they might be pushing for that because they might feel like that's all they know to lead with. So like they might not like you could tell they're not even listening. They're not even tuned into the conversation. They're just very like touchy. Yeah, like and I feel like as if I was a guy, that would turn me off. Like ew. But like if the vibes are just cool, like if me and you were sitting like this and we're just talking and we're just like, yeah, like oh my god, yeah, I'm into that too. Like, oh, you like that too? Like, yeah. Or like me and you, oh shit, Kanye's your favorite artist. Same, me too. We rapping like that's the vibe. Like we're just vibing. We just chilling like we're friends. And then if it's just like, dang, like this is a really cool person, like then you're getting like aroused. But some women go on those dates and they aroused from the jump, and they think that's what they gotta lead with. Cause that's all they know. They don't got no personalities. They don't got no game. All they lead with is their vaginas, and then you see what happens.
You okay?
I'm okay. I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Give me the cup. Give me the cup. Give me the cup.
Saying.
Give me the cup.
I'm just saying.
What's in there?
Bacardi Gold.
No, I didn't think you actually said it. Why'd you bring out the strawberry? I thought you were gonna drink that.
Yeah, I was too, but this was kind of a lot. No, but that's my perspective on it. That
do whatever works for you.
Yeah, my perspective is the vibe. Like I said, we vibe and like we cool, like we friends, and then it's like dang, like, and then it just leads to that. Like sometimes like the energy is just good, maybe getting a couple good drinks, and it just leads to that. I feel like that could lead to a marriage. That could lead into a family. But I feel like if a girl's leading with that, that's not the type of girl I would wife if I was a guy, because I'm like she'd probably do every other nigga that she got on her date list this week. Every other person she might have matched with online, this is the same game she playing with all of them. You know what I mean? So, I feel like guys know that. Like, I think guys are intelligent enough to know when a girl's a bop, and they know the energy that they're getting is like thotty bop vibes.
It also depends what you want out of her, because sometimes that don't matter. Like if you,
I think some guys might be like, dang, like I really try to get to know this girl, and she keeps trying to like get my penis, and then they're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna fuck this girl, fuck it, and then I'm gonna ghost her. Like, like I don't know if guys, but like that, but like. Is that a real thing? Like, you might really be trying to get to know a girl, and she's like, dang, like, she even listens to me. I'm trying to get to know her. Yo. And this is just a hoe. I'm trying to get to know her.
That would be the funniest thing you ever said.
No, it's like, you might be trying to, like, I'm really trying to get to know you, and you, like, touching on me. Like, damn, bitch, like, I'm trying to talk to you.
Get off me.
Like, what the hell?
Yo, that would be the funniest thing you ever said.
No, but I feel like it's real. Like, because, like, girls might experience that too. Like,
trash.
You might try to get to know a guy. It's like, he's just touching on you. Like, it's like, all right, nigga.
She don't even want to get to know me.
No, but I feel like some guys generally feel that way, and then their thought glasses go on, their thought goggles. Like, you know what, this is just another thought. Like, forget her, move on.
Yeah, where it's like you see the person, you think that she's cool, and it's like, damn.
Like,
another one.
She just keeps talking about her.
Damn.
She keeps talking about her. She used a clapper. Like, you know how girls that just, girls that just lead with that. Like, I told you a story.
Oh yeah, where they just be like saying random shit. Like,
I could. Let me think of an example. Like, oh, I could do handstands on it.
No, I got you. Yo, they be like, I just get too wet. Like I gotta wear extra underwear around
because I just be soaking. Like it's so annoying. Like, oh my god, it's just so annoying. Like,
gag reflex.
I got no
flexible.
Gag reflex. Like,
what else they be saying? We've seen so much of this. Flexible.
The pick me. That's the real pick me shit. Like they talk about pick me's being women that take up for men and take it, make a whole woman accountable. No, the real pick me's are the one that be like, yeah, I could do splits on it.
They always talk about soul snatching.
Yeah, like, oh, you'll see, I gets down.
Yeah. Anyway, you got anything else on this?
No, like those are. I feel like men could see that, so that's all that matters. Like
some of them.
Some of them are oblivious.
Some of them don't care though.
No.
Every once in a while, social media gets a hold of a word and they don't know what it means and they just run with it.
Yeah.
Narcissist is definitely one of them. The gaslight thing has been tormenting
Gaslight,
men all over the world.
Yeah, manipulation, gaslight, narcissist are the big three.
Yeah. To me, if you use the word narcissist, you tend to be the person that is the actual narcissist. Because anytime we've seen people use it in context of something, it's usually like they're, it's another one, coded. Coded is another one that's been popular.
Something's discoded.
Yeah, discoded. Yeah. TikTok is a funny place. But yeah, typically people that use that word, they end up being the actual narcissistic people. Like the comments that they make, in relation to calling somebody else just tells us that you're the actual narcissist. Like people should first and foremost find out the actual definition of it. Like,
yeah, could that be the funny part? I don't think they truly know what it means, and that's why I feel like it's narcissistic, because you're low key thinking that you don't even have to get the credentials
like
required to diagnose somebody with that terminology. So who's a real narcissist?
I think people probably want to use the word arrogant, but because arrogant is such a commonplace word, it doesn't have the same impact. But I think the official definition of narcissist is someone that has an overly heightened sense of importance.
Yeah.
But
yeah, let's get the actual definition.
I'm pretty sure that's the actual word. And if you read the story of Narcissus in Greek mythology, that was really what it was. But somebody doing something where they're like, I don't know, like what's an example? Like somebody disrespecting you or being like,
yeah, this says narcissism as personality qualities include thinking very highly of oneself, needing admiration, believing others are inferior, and lacking empathy for others.
I feel like that's not the actual definition.
Yeah, that's too broad. Let's go to like an actual clinical website.
Yeah.
Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people who have unreasonably high sense of their own importance, they need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others, but behind this mask of extreme confidence, they're not sure of their self-worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of life, such as relationships, work, school, or financial matters. So it's like that hard, it's that deep. And they may, find their relationships troubled and unfulfilling. So it's a real actual disorder.
Yeah, so to me, I don't feel like somebody cheating on you is the definition of narcissism.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like the way people do their TikToks and talk about certain stories, when they're like, let me tell you this story time about this guy that did this. Yeah. Like that to me is the narcissistic part about it. Yeah. To me, like.
Because like that's a symptom. You're seeking, like you have an unreasonably high sense of self-importance. So you think so highly of yourself that you feel like this guy was a narcissist to you.
Yeah, he probably wasn't.
Or you expect to be recognized as superior even without achievements. So you don't even do a lot of shit in your life, but you expect that, like you expect to be on this pedestal. Yeah. But you don't. What do you really have? What have you really done?
Right, and that goes into what we were talking about earlier about people expecting to get like $100 lunch dates.
Yeah.
Like that's narcissism in itself. Not
just somebody. As big achievements and talents seem bigger than they are. That's narcissistic. Like.
Yeah, there's so many different things about here that I see on social media that happen every day. And we always see it from the people that actually call other people narcissists. Like, they're the biggest ones. Like, you can't be, like, in the business of just diagnosing a ton of people because maybe you don't like the way that they might have said something or did something. Like, okay, so he wanted to mess with you and mess with another woman at the same time. That's not necessarily, it can be true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's a narcissist just because of that.
Yeah.
That one fact. Just because he wants to mess with two women at the same time doesn't mean that he values himself higher than other people, and he thinks that he has so many achievements. He's just a thought.
He's just a thought.
So that's not a narcissist. So people really shouldn't use that word to define everything that they don't like about men, because it's men that do. The women are saying this about men all the time. Like, they don't say women are narcissists, even though women, which is funny, women are the most vain, egotistical, and arrogant creatures on the planet.
And that's why, like, we said this in our last, we might have said this multiple times at this point, but like the funniest thing to me is how like women will never find really fault in another woman when it comes to like a relationship with a man falling apart. But women fall out with their friends every day. Women have beef with their friends every day. But for some reason, they don't see how their women are the problem.
Yeah, which is crazy. And women just want to diagnose men with having all these illnesses and all this other stuff. But in general, people that use that word don't use it properly. They just find out what it means, and then they just like will apply to everything. But everything that somebody does that you might not like doesn't now mean that they're a narcissist. Like it really does not work that way. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's why, like I said, like, I think those people are the true narcissists, in my opinion. Like, they're definitely, because like they already have an inflated view of themselves, thinking that they can even diagnose somebody with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it might sound like we're trying to diagnose people, but we're really not. But
Yeah.
if we're looking at the definition of it,
yeah, like our topic is literally a question. Like, we're actually just asking the audience, like,
to me,
people who throw out the term narcissist a lot, the true narcissist. Like, we're not diagnosing them. We're actually questioning, are they the true narcissists? Like, based on these symptoms, are they the true ones? Like,
yeah, I think they are, because they want to put that title on everybody because they feel like everybody else, there's something wrong with everybody else, which to me feels like you have a like perspective that you have a higher importance than everybody else.
yeah.
So to me, that's why, like, you want to put that title on everything that somebody does that you don't like. You want to put that title on them. You doing that is just showing me that you think that you're above everybody else because you can't do any wrong, and you just put yourself on this pedestal and everybody else is below you. To me, like, that's the type of people that always have something negative to say about somebody, like just complaining at 100 miles an hour on the internet all day. I hate all men. Like, all these kind of tweets to me are narcissistic in nature, but people don't view them that way. But they'll be quick to call somebody that when all of their behaviors on social media are indicative of being narcissistic.
Yeah, literally.
Like, just in the way people post, and like, I mean,
and look, this is a huge one. Be critical of and look down on people they feel not important. So talking down on people just because they haven't done certain stuff that you feel like they should be doing or that you've done.
Yeah.
So like disparaging men, like, you know, no offense, but like, sometimes we talk about people who might watch the podcast, but like, you know, not that my mom out there throw her under the bus, but a lot of times she's very critical of people who haven't done certain stuff like traveling and stuff. Like, oh, they haven't seen the world, they haven't done shit. Their favorite trip is Tampa or Orlando. It's like, well, who cares? Like, then just align with who you align with. Like, if that's not who you align with, then why do you gotta talk down and disparage their perspective? Like, that just might be how they view travel, you know? So it's like, this kind of is a red flag for her. Like,
it's pretty much everything
looking down on people that they feel are not important. Like, you know, you're kind of looking down and very critical of those people because you feel like you're superior to them. That's narcissism.
To me, it's pretty much every take that people have on Twitter is like narcissism to me.
Yeah, look at this. Take advantage of others to get what they want. How many women do that to get money?
That's the whole
tricking.
Yeah, there's a whole industry.
Yeah.
All your faves on Instagram with 1 million followers, like, that's their whole thing.
Behave in an arrogant way, brag a lot, and come across as conceited. Insist on having the best of everything. For instance, they need to have the best car or the best office.
Yeah. And this is also what I believe to be true. I don't think that even if you do some of these things, it doesn't necessarily make you a narcissist. But I think if there's like enough combinations of these different traits, that's what qualifies you as being one.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people fall into that category.
Yeah.
Because you see the way they post, and like everybody, you could just see it. Like, if you can't be self-critical, to me, is another one. Like, if you can't find fault in anything that you do, like, you 100% are. And I feel like people only talk about like the negatives of other people and never talk about the negatives of themselves. And it's not everybody, but there's a good portion of the world that won't do that. Like me, I'm so overcritical of myself, and that's what actually makes me better. Is that I'll be able to look internally and be like, nah, like, you really need to do better with this, or this was trash. Like, you'll see me all day. Like, I'll be like, nah, this is garbage. Like, I might make something, because I used to do that a lot with my music too. I would make music and I'd be like, bro, I hate this. Like, this is really trash. Like, I'm so overcritical. And you'd be like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, like, this is fire. But I'll be like, nah, like, I really legitimately don't like it. So I'm not saying that I'm not a narcissist, but based on that, I don't think so. I'm so much the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But I think that people that definitely use the word the most. Even gaslighting, I feel like people that use the word gaslight probably be gaslighting the most.
They're probably the biggest gaslighter.
I always feel like that. I always feel like the person that is the one heavily promoting something is the one that's actually responsible for it.
Yeah.
So where they say like the men that be so anti-gay, like, I feel like they're gay.
Yeah.
People that be like, oh, everybody's a narcissist. No, you're a narcissist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that those things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like, for sure.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting topic, and I feel like,
to the point where it's a clinical
Yeah, but like
thing.
these terminologies are real clinical diagnoses. It's like who are you to think that you could diagnose somebody with this because you just don't like how they act, or you just don't you're just not compatible with maybe some of their personality traits, or like they just do something that you don't like.
Yeah, maybe they wronged you, but that still doesn't qualify as somebody
Yeah,
being a narcissist.
like,
And there's
and I
other
think every person has narcissistic traits.
right, because you have
But
to, like, if
to
you have
diagnose, yeah,
if you have any like self-worth,
yeah,
self-value, you're gonna do certain things that are
that come,
narcissistic.
yeah,
Like people like nice stuff,
yeah,
right? Like it's kind of hard for me to say that when I'm speaking with this grill in my mouth,
yeah,
right? So everybody does have narcissistic traits, but to be considered a narcissist, like, nah. I think a lot of the words that people need to use are the ones that are more specific to their um to the issue that they're speaking on.
yeah,
So like arrogant, like I was saying, or conceited, for example. Conceited might be more applicable than narcissist. Like
yeah,
narcissist is like an actual like go listen to the story like
yeah,
in Greek mythology of Narcissus himself. Like read that story and that's more indicative of narcissist. Conceited, yeah, like people are more conceited than I think clinically narcissistic. Like just find the right words and understand what they
yeah.
mean.
Like, yeah, like you could insult somebody saying, "Oh, this person is very like he does a lot. He's very like airheaded, or like not airheaded, like big headed."
Yeah.
Yeah, he is big headed, but like let's not diagnose people with actual personality disorders. That's
Yeah.
very dangerous to do that.
Yeah. And use it properly, because
Yeah,
to me you look dumb using terminology and not really even applying it properly.
yeah, and then sometimes it actually gets lost. Like the actual true definition of
Yeah.
these things
Now,
end up getting lost when you just classify everybody as that. Like,
yeah, now the next time somebody does something similar, you're just gonna put that tag on them when it's like, wait a second,
yeah,
maybe they just made a mistake, and all of a sudden they're a narcissist because they might have
yeah,
made a mistake. Like that rhetoric could get real dangerous. But in general, just be more educated on what these words actually mean,
yeah,
not just because somebody you saw on social media use it. Like
yeah,
that's the problem with the way TikTok. Like one of the many problems with TikTok is like
yeah,
somebody will say something and it will be like, what does this mean? Like, what does narcissistic mean? And
yeah,
then they'll see it and then just post it everywhere, because you see somebody makes a comment and then now it becomes like a widespread thing, whether
yeah,
it's slang or just repurposing a word that already exists, or like bringing forth a word that people haven't ever used before. Like all these different things, they spread too much and people don't know in what context to use them.
yeah. I was so good at not coughing this whole episode.
No, you weren't.
Nah.
You've been dying the whole time.
No, I haven't stopped coughing for like last 10 minutes.
Anyway, you got anything else on this?
No, I just feel like let's retire people using these terminologies in 2024. Like,
Unless they're applicable.
unless they're very applicable, yeah.
Unless
Like,
I've-
unless somebody covers like 4 or more symptoms, then yeah.
And let's not diagnose somebody. Like
Yeah.
let's allow the medical professionals that
Yeah.
do this for a
Say
living.
maybe I think this person has, or you could even say this person has narcissistic traits. But
And
don't
say-
be like, this
say-
is a narcissist. He's
and
a
say-
narcissist. She's a narcissist. Like,
and say I think that
I think that
in my opinion.
because I'm not a clinical psychologist who I haven't been to school for that. So let's pipe down, because you haven't stepped foot in a psychology class. I haven't stepped foot in a psychology class, so I don't know anything about psychology. So I will never just throw out those terms to people. So,
Yeah.
but do I have an opinion? Sometimes if I see someone who's characterizing, have certain traits, yeah, I'm gonna get my opinion. But people be so like, it's not even like your opinion. They're like making it seem like it's a true statement. Like, they are a narcissist. I know it. They are. How do you know it? You don't even have a freaking GED. You don't even finish high school. So how you know?
Yeah, but even if you did,
Yeah.
don't minimize that. Like even if you did finish college, that doesn't make you more
Yeah.
more
You
educated or
didn't-
not.
Yeah. You don't have a psychology degree. And even if you have a psychology degree, are you a master's in it, in psychology? And even if you have a master's, are you a PhD? Are you a doctor? Are you actually a doctor? Are you certified to make that diagnosis? There's plenty of people who have bachelors in psychology. That's probably one of the most common degrees that people get.
Yeah, it's like the default degree.
Yeah. But the only people who actually make something of it is the people who actually take it to the point of actually being a doctor. So if you're not that, I don't want to hear you call anybody a narcissist.
And on that note, we are out of here. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the A Couple of Things podcast with Alex and Mal. We will see you same time, same place
Next week.
next week.